Yeah, I mean, it's usually to kind of loose it, if you warm up with a few wedges, and then I like to do kind of a wedge ladder, just making sure I'm hitting my numbers kind of 60, 70, 80, and just kind of getting those feels in with the wedges. Where I spend maybe 20, 30 minutes on that, not too long. But I just kind of go into irons, getting a good feel, but also kind of making sure I'm hitting the shots I want to hit, and the numbers too. And then usually with kind of some driver work, usually create kind of fairways out on the range, or making just not just beating balls, but more so kind of just hitting shots out there, and kind of simulating some on-course practice. So not too long of a practice day, usually probably maybe max an hour spent on the range. And obviously working on different things each day, but usually kind of wedge ladders basically every single day, and then a little bit of swing work and a little bit of just kind of simulating on-course practice. Usually with wedges, I try and kind of see it fall a hair left, kind of be a lower flight falling a hair left, just to obviously have a pretty good amount of spin on it, but not ripping by any means. And then as I kind of transition more up into the bag, I kind of go a little more cut biased. So like 7, 8, and 9 are usually pretty straight. Try and fade it a hair, but kind of wedges maybe falling a little left and rest of the bag falling a little right.
What are some things that, like, some key elements in the swing, if you were to do swing work on the range, that you like to pay attention to?
I mean, I feel like main things kind of just making sure your shed switch wants to be pretty consistent. And then usually just making sure that I like seeing the club head stay outside my hands, not kind of getting here, but then also kind of a pretty big turn as well. And then after that, really, like, I'm not a really big technical player, but just kind of a few key checkpoints when it comes to setup, and then kind of takeaway, really. Yeah, recently it's kind of been more ball position, and then making sure I'm kind of a little bit more behind the ball to help with the turn, versus kind of I tend to sometimes get a little bit this way, which is then hard to kind of turn how I want to.
And ball position would be kind of middle?
Yeah, pretty middle. Usually if I'm trying to kind of cut it a hair, maybe trick it up a little bit. And then if it's trying to draw it a little bit or fly it down, maybe move it a little back.
Tell me about your shallowing move. Is that something you've always had? Is that something you work on?
Not really. It's been kind of natural.
Yeah.
For me, like it definitely comes from like obviously I don't want to get steep, so it just kind of came natural. And then it's never something I've really tried to get away from. I try to get a little bit more consistency at the top when it comes to, like, not like super deep, but just a hair deeper, just to help a little bit bigger turn. But yeah, really, I wouldn't say it's something I work on. It kind of came natural.
What would stock yardage for 9 be?
Usually like 155 to 160, somewhere kind of right in there, depending on draw, fade conditions, maybe a little bit.
you say that you have a typical miss?
Yeah, it's kind of, usually for me, it's kind of just like that last one. It's like a little bit here, and it's kind of a little squirty out to the right.
What's the diagnosis to?
It's kind of feeling like this, like I kind of plant into this left side versus kind of slide into it a little bit. So like whether that's, I put something right here so that I like can't do that, can't go like this way, or just kind of feeling like pressure into that left foot. Some 7-irons, footwork.
How important is a range session and warm-ups pre-tournament? Do you put much stock into it? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I usually warm up with the same clubs, but other than that, I usually kind of view it more as just getting loose. I usually kind of like to end it with maybe hitting the club I'm gonna hit off the first tee, or going through the first maybe a couple holes on the range, simulating that. But no, I don't get necessarily too in depth with it, like as to trying to hit certain shots, or maybe a little bit towards the end, but nothing. Like usually I use the first probably 10-15 minutes just getting warm, and the last maybe 5 or so just hitting some shots.
what's the what clubs? What's the routine on?
Usually kind of go some 60 degrees, just kind of pitch shots, getting loose, and then to gap wedge 52, and then 8-5, and then usually 3-iron, 3-wood driver. Usually hitting a couple balls with each. Nothing too exagerous. Is that better?
Yeah. So where would you say all the power for you is created?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like, especially growing up, playing other sports. Like I played a lot of baseball, and there it's kind of trying to hit as hard as you can, right? And so I feel like that kind of translated a little bit to golf, as to when you're kind of 10, 11, 12, like you're just trying to hit it hard. And so developing speed there, and then as you got older, kind of tightening up a little bit. But I mean, obviously I have a little bit of lag in fast hips, but it just kind of came natural throughout growing up and developing, I feel like.
Do you feel like the sit move on the way down to clear?
Not really.
I kind of feel like that definitely, I try and feel kind of pressure into my left side a little bit. So that's probably where it is a little bit as to kind of that way. So maybe a hair, but no, I try and kind of feel like keeping it tight on the way back and getting it here and then really just turning through it.
Like from on a scale of 0 to 100%, how fast are you cruising on the golf course generally?
Probably 80, 85.
When does the 100 ever come out?
Probably when someone sends me a swing speed faster than mine, but no, not. I mean, maybe if there's like a certain carry that I need to hit or something, maybe, and it's pretty wide open, maybe, but not necessarily like. No, there's not really often. I feel like there's a better chance I'm swinging kind of 65, 70 on kind of like maybe like a little bunt cut or something versus going hard. But maybe I snuck one in there. There was like a 320 or 325 carry and just had to absolutely nuke one.
I was right behind the tee box on Thursday at Augusta this year for your tee shot. What was that tee shot like?
It was nerve-wracking, but in a good way. I mean, it was definitely nice that like the hole's kind of shaped for you, right? I mean, there's people kind of lined up like this, and obviously kind of hitting a little bit of a cut. The tee shot fit my eye pretty well, but no, it was nerve-wracking in a good way. I had a little adrenaline pumping, so it probably went a little further, but it was nice that I could just kind of aim up the left and rip it. With the nerves there, that might have been one where I was swinging harder just to try and hit it somewhere down the middle, but no, it was really cool. It did not sink in how nervous I was going to be till that tee box.
Maybe hit one more and then good.
Yeah, how's it going? Hey, Broken Tea Society. I'm Gordon Sargent, and you're watching The Index Experiment.